Hello. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who checked out the I Made the Bible into a Magic the Gathering deck because I was very scared to make a new video. It's just like what do I make in order to match that? And then I remembered my favorite deck of I think I've ever built and a deck that I built slightly around the concept of the Lotus Hotel from the Percy Jackson series. I'm going to explain in a minute. Full deck list will be down below, but this is my Myra the Magnificent deck. Whenever I cast an instant or sorcery spell from my hand, open an attraction. Pay X and tap, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from your graveyard and choose an attraction you control that doesn't have a midway counter on it. Put a midway counter on it. Whenever you visit an attraction, copy the exile card. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So, with that, we now have essentially a very weird and wacky spell slinger deck coming straight out of a Legal Infinity deck. So this is one of the only two attraction decks out of the entire set that you could build 100% legally. So that's what I did. It is a bit of a spell slinger deck, which is not something I ever do, but it is also running almost every single copy of one copy of every single legal attraction deck. So I do have a sideboard for this deck, which is, kind of insane. So I built this deck essentially around the Percy Jackson Lotus Hotel idea. Now, in the Percy Jackson series, the Lotus Hotel is a hotel that essentially entertains you and distracts you. And me and my girlfriend were talking about this last night because we're not quite sure if it's trying to eat your soul or just take years off of your life. We weren't quite sure why, but essentially, as you're playing all the games and being really entertained inside the hotel, you're losing a lot of time. You're losing a lot of whatever that means to you. It's how we get see Nico in the hotel the first time. It's a push as our heroes of Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. I almost forgot his name for a second. I also wanted to say like Gromit, like Wallace Gromit, but that's not how that works. And pushes their adventure forward just a little bit longer. I also had this theory for a while that Rick Riordan put that in the book because he was like, yeah, 7 days is more than enough time. Oh no, everything that they're doing is taking much shorter time than 7 days. So let's just very quickly make them lose 3 days by going to this magic hotel of some sort, and no big deal. And then if you watch the Disney Plus show, apparently Lin-Manuel Miranda shows up, which is just a thing that happens, I suppose. It's quite entertaining to see. But like I said, this is probably my favorite deck at the moment. I love playing this deck. It's always a lot of because my opponents don't really know what the deck do, and every time I play this deck, I'm taking a lot of game actions and I'm doing a lot of damage, but they still never know how to deal with the deck because it is so weird. Like, other than destroying my attractions, there really isn't a way of dealing with it. And even then, my attractions are never a surefire thing. They're always a bit of a gamble. They're a bit of, well, that might do something versus this other thing on the board definitely will do something. So I'm more often than not left to my own devices, which is, I can assure you, a bad move with this deck. So, how do I play off the theme of the Lotus Hotel in the deck other than, attractions? Well, all of these spells, all of these little spells right here, you may think that these are spells in order for me to cast. But there's a couple of them in here that really tell you what the deck is actually trying to do. A lot of these are like control pieces. A lot of these are like buy me time pieces. Gale Strike, Thirst for Discovery, Looking for Answers, Impede Momentum. All of these are really good. River's Rebuke, which, very quickly is becoming something of a pet card. It's a board wipe for the one guy who needs to be board wiped and nothing else. But, so that is, defensively. But then you might also see the command performance in here, which lets me open up more decks, which lets me spin more my wheels a little bit more. You may see the Jessica's Will just casually hiding here, doing things. You may see the Fractured Sanity, where each opponent mills 14 cards. You may then see up here the Tasha's Hideous Laughter, otherwise known as Malcolm's Merciless Mirth, except I can't say that word, which is why I try not to say it. So, a lot of the actual cards I'm looking here, the Traumatized, if you didn't notice, are here to mill you out. And not in subtle ways either. In these big, bombastic ways, I'm essentially trying to get that shock value that Percy and his adventuring crew had when they realized 3 days had passed, and when they realized that, something is seriously wrong here. Is the sudden, oh shit, of the deck's feel that these cards kind of provide. All the while still having other cards in the deck like Winterflame, dealing damage around, Invoke the Winds, just stealing your things. Gain control of target artifact or creature, untap it. This could happen with some dice rolls when paired with command performance multiple times a turn if I get to roll to visit my attractions and then open more attractions. You have things like the Magnum Opus, which are just dealing damage, creating treasure tokens, and creating people. Also, this discard here, super useful because then once it's in my graveyard, I'm then able to pop off, as it were. But no. So these are the more like sudden and drastic ways of getting it done. Your Fractured Sanity, your Malcolm's Merciless Mirth, your Traumatized, which just says, hey, one person takes half of their deck and throws that out. We don't need that anymore. And then we go over here to our list of creatures. This list of creatures are all set off to do basically one or two things. They are to make all of these spells that I'm casting and recasting for free at my first main phase, deal damage, get me more spells, or draw cards. Highlights of course, Keswick Flame Breather, Gutter Snipe, of course, Niv Mizzet, of course. But then you also have the more build up an actual board presence for a big swing. Your Tauren, Sky Summoner, your Maniform Hellkites. If you don't know what Maniform Hellkite and you're doing this kind of like storm casty deck, honey, let me show you. It's a 2 and a red, flying 4/4 dragon that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX red dragon illusion creature token with flying haste where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. This card goes in so many decks, like a storm deck that you really just want to actually kill someone with a big punch. The Master Multiplied, because you won't be forced to exile any of those things, so now you just have a bunch of dragons. Any mono red, any Gruul dragon that says they get double strike or they double their power or anything like that, this card should just be in there, just to be like, hey, here's a quick and easy way to make a bunch of dragons. Then of course we also have the Chrome Host Seed Shark. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X that spell's mana value, and then you can transform it with all that. The new Urabrask, Thermal Alchemist, like all of these spells, all of these creatures have one job, like, with the exception of Katsuma. All these spells have one job. Make all of my attraction visiting hurting everyone else. But again, because they're attractions, it's never a guarantee. They don't know if it's actually going to happen, and neither do I. So, really, with this deck, am I ever the threat that needs to be handled? I just could be a problem at all times, which is a really fun way of doing it. I did talk about pet cards in my last little short, so I do want to talk about my pet card here, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Katsumasa, the animator. Flying, pay 2 and a blue. Until end of turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact. Creature that gains flying. If it's not a vehicle, it has a base power 1/1 until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on 2/3 target non-creature artifacts. So, I'm doing all this damage with spells. I'm doing all these wonky and weird fun time things with my creatures. Katsuma, the animator, is on board. And then for 3 mana, I can hit you in the face with a merry-go-round that's now flying. It is like, I've only been able to do it a couple of times, but it is like doing the freaking Jimmy Neutron movie, We're the Kids of America, where they take apart the amusement park and they fly off to save their parents from being eaten from a giant chicken. Like, it is brilliantly stupid, and I love this card in this deck. That's my pet card. But of course, if we're going to be doing a mill type strategy and a ping you to death with all my spell casting, we do need something, just something, of enchantments to kind of make this work. First off, Barbarian class in this deck, or just any dice rolling deck matters. Brilliant if you would roll 1 or more dice. Roll that many +1 and ignore the lowest roll. I do not use this for anything else than that. It is a 1 mana, roll more dice. And then there's other words on it as well, which, do not matter to me. Copy enchantment is essentially anything I need it to be. And when I proved that this dorky little deck could win, because I will never show you a deck that can't win. And I'm in a pod regularly that can see a Blightsteel Colossus punch you in the face turn 3. Like, that is just the pod that I'm in most times. So, just wanting to explain that. Because copy enchantment can be any enchantment on the battlefield. Now, here's the thing about that. This could be my opponent's greatest threat. Or it could be a forced fruition. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player draws 7 cards. Now, whenever they cast a spell, they draw 14. I promise you, no matter whatever I'm doing in my little Disney park, I am not the threat. The man who just dropped like a bomb and then drew 14 cards, that man's a problem. You need to go. So, with all my damage pingers, you also have cards like City on Fire. It deals triple that damage. Copy that. Ooh, I casted 1 spell for free because I managed to visit my merry-go-round. Now everyone is taking 6 points of damage from my Gutter Snipe and my Castic Flamebringer. Like, ooh. Okay. Not to mention if Thermal Alchemist gets on the field. On Gutter Snipe, this 1 card with this mess is disgusting. That is 9 points of damage for, again, visiting the Tunnel of Love. Does not matter how much your friends love you, you will not be loved after that. Then, of course, we have some more shenanigans. Mystic Remora, because, card draw is nice. I want to be responsible. Shock Typhoon, because sometimes hitting someone with a flying shock is also funny. I don't know how that ties into Percy Jackson, besides Percy is the son of Poseidon, and that works somehow. I'm gonna say that just works. Rising of the Day, every hero needs his journey. Another card that just say, hey, each opponent mill in a very sneaky, subtle way. And a lot of my spells that I'm casting for free, just end up doing draw a card things one way or another. So it's a great card there. Double Vision. This is a jerk card in this deck. You want to know why this is a jerk card in this deck? Let me show you. Let me show you why Double Vision is a dick card in this deck. Each opponent exiles the top of their library until that player has exiled a total mana value of 20 or more. I'm sorry, did I say 20? I meant 40. In an Elf Ball deck, I played this against an Elf Ball deck once. That man literally took 70% of his library and just threw it out. Not even in the graveyard. Exiled. He would not speak to me for the rest of the day. He was like, no, just no. And you know what? I can't say I blame him. Because it was such a surprisingly dickish move from someone who doesn't do that. And then Metallic, or I can't say that. Summonings, same thing. Just continuously getting effects from casting spells that I really didn't pay for. And then we of course have Sculpting Steel. If I run out of artifacts, which my attractions are, I can just make a new one. Stasis Coffin, because once they finally realize that I'm doing dumb things, they're gonna want to hit me, and that'll stop them from hitting me. Sorting, because sorting, I'm probably gonna take this card out straight up. Like, I hate that every deck has a sorting, but I mean, it's useful. It's useful when I have 8 mana enchantments. Like, it is useful. Swiffer Boots, because the faster I can get Myra on the board and doing things, the better. And then for my one Planeswalker of the deck, I do have Chandra, Hope's Beacon. Again, for really just for like that static ability of when I cast a thing, it gets doubled. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say 20? I'm in the top 60 cards. The top 60 mana value of your library. That includes lands. Lands equals 0. Just keep chucking them. Like, that's a dick move. That's a dick move, you know? That's a dick move. But no, Chandra's really fun, especially with something like City on Fire. Drop her down, deal 15 points of damage up to 3 people. Convoke that out, bomb that out, be like, oh yeah, people are dead. No, but this is my very messy board now. All because of Myra the Magnificent, and I wanted to build a deck where you are distracted with all of the fun and all of the quirky things like Tunnel of Love, Merry-Go-Round, Information Booth, a classic Magic the Gathering card, Drop Tower, the Kitty Coaster, Bigger Beeble, Bounce Chamber, Foam Weapons Kiosk, Fortune Teller, Clown Extruder, the grossest name of a Magic card I've ever seen, Concession Stand, Balloon Stand, Ferris Wheel. Imagine getting hit in the face with a Ferris wheel because the animator said so. So these all have the ability of flying and punching you in the face. Bumper Cars, Hall of Mirrors, just a roller coaster. The Trash Bin, I'm just gonna hit you with the trash bin. Or a Spinny Ride. This deck is absolutely insane. I will be posting a full deck list in the comment section down below if you wanted to confuse all of your friends and then secretly mill them out all of a sudden. Feel free to do that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.